All right, guys, today we have a real special guest. I mean, this man been on all the news stations. His work been in art galleries. He making mad loot. Okay, look at him. Look at he's shining right now, okay? Very talented brother. I'm talking about the one and only Danny Cortez,
What's up?
aka
What's up?
Chavito.
Chavito, el lírico bandido.
What's good, Danny? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Blessed, man. Just having a great time, having fun at the end of the day, and grinding. I love it. I love what I do. So it's easy because I love it. So
You know what I love seeing is that throughout the years that I've followed you, bro, you seem to be filled with more and more life as time goes on. Like the fulfillment, you exude the confidence and everything like that. It really
yes,
shows like how much fun and happiness that you are. You're living your best life. That's what it
living
is.
the best life, and it all starts with yourself. It all starts with loving what you do, and let's put aside the money, let's put aside the fame and success, and this goes out to all the listeners out there, and it's never too late.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's never too late once your back is against the wall. Like, we come from an environment that it is like destined to fail. But if you put your love into something that you do, I guarantee you, man, just hold on one more day. It will happen.
Yeah, man. Well, you know what? I'm so glad that we're able to get this interview done because I've been waiting for 2 years
It's been
now,
a
man. Come
while,
on.
man. I just wanted to give you the all the time, all the patience just for today. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So you on vacation and you still working, man. So you guys got to clap it up for him for that. Okay.
It don't stop. It don't stop.
Yeah.
Man. But as long as the family's okay with it,
Yeah,
and
man.
they're my biggest supporters. They're my number one fans. They understand.
So I like to start at the beginning just so we can paint the canvas and let the people see you for who you really are, right? You're from Brooklyn and you're born in Brooklyn?
Born in Brooklyn.
Okay. And which part of Brooklyn?
Bushwick. Long Island College was the hospital. Long Island College and Atlantic Avenue, which is now Langone, I think it is. NYU Langone. But yeah, at Atlantic Avenue, raised in Bushwick, Brooklyn in the 80s. And half my let's say when I moved at 14, 15, we moved to Bed-Stuy, which is a rough time at during the 90s, 94, 95. Yeah, Kosciuszko between Marcy and Tompkins. And, so I got to experience both sides.
Did you grow up with any siblings?
I did it. I have two brothers from mother and father, but they stood in Puerto Rico due to, my mom being young and my mom being afraid of my dad. He just took my brothers and, my mother just took me to New York City and we just studied it.
Oh, wait, so they your blood brothers, but you just didn't grow up with them.
From mother, father, yeah. But my mom was so ignorant and young at the time that whatever my dad was saying, like he was always like, wasn't very the nicest person to my mom, so threatened her with a lot of things and I don't know, just out of fear, which nowadays you just, she could just report it and that was all. Just having those brothers is definitely was a stain in my heart because, having brothers that you can grow up with that could take you out of these situations growing up in the 80s and the 90s, I didn't have a brother figure, which I always wanted, but, that's just life. That's what God had for me. And that was the plan. So it's perfect. It was perfect. It had to be that way. But yeah, three brothers, Jason, Jeffrey. They grew up, born and raised in Puerto Rico, and I'm the one that was born in New York City and stood in New York City.
Did you feel like lonely as a child as a result though, because like you didn't have that?
Yeah, I did. I did feel lonely, knowing that I had brothers, and it was always confusing for me like, as a child. Like, why I have brothers? Why they're not with me? It was always the question, and I always had a little resentment on my mom as I grew older. Like, yo, that's you're the mom. Like, why didn't you fight for your kids? But life goes on. It's just that's the way it was supposed to be, and
Right.
and my mom is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And actually, I got her with me everywhere I go. I take her with me. All those little perks that I get, she's always with me. Yes, because I never slept with being hungry. I always had a meal, always had clean clothes, always had a roof over my head. I had the latest games, like everything you could think of. My mother tried, she made it happen, So, salute to my mom for doing that. But being lonely, again to that topic, yeah, bro, and that's what also plays subliminally, I guess, in my career now is having the freedom of imagination, being the only child, you could say, at the household, and I would disappear with my G.I. Joes and Transformers, action figures, Ninja Turtles, and I would disappear to this fantasy world for hours and hours. And it was the result of being the only child syndrome,
Right.
Imagination is key, so.
What did your parents do for work?
My mom was at an early age, she was on welfare. And then she worked in odd jobs, cleaning, in factories. I remember her taking me to a few blocks away. I grew up in 36 Aryan Place between Bushwick and Broadway. And there was a factory like 1 block away. I remember her sometimes taking me to work. And how I grew up in this factory, and I'm running around this factory that she used to sew sweaters and different odd jobs. She worked for Kodak as well, the factory for Kodak.
Difficult job.
She works for Cascade. Yeah, physical job, factory job, minimum wage. At the time, it must have been like $3-4 an hour or something. But I remember the last job she worked was at Cascade on Myrtle and Morrissey Avenue in Bed-Stuy.
So was it a traditional Puerto Rican household, would you say?
Oh, yes, because I had my uncles. And the music, man, it was salsa, soul music, because Margie on the second floor, that was like my aunt, she was a New Yorican woman that was raised in Bushwick projects. So she comes with the black folks, and she brought that soul to our building, so Marvin Gaye, from disco to all these barbecue classic rhythms and mixed with salsa and freestyle music, and also hip hop, of course. Right. So all these flavors in the air, and you as a kid using imagination, you were wondering. I listen to these rhythms today, and it just takes me to a beautiful place, as chaotic and overwhelming the 80s crack era, crack epidemic. 90s was 80s and 90s was a super chaotic time. But come to think about it, sometimes I didn't feel it because we all were poor. The whole block was poor. We didn't feel it. It was a lot of love. That's when OGs really was still a thing to say, because Gilbert and Sonny, the neighbors, these were men of the block, and they catch you doing something out of line, they'll pull you by your ear and bring you home, and you can't do that now,
Right.
That's why it's so chaotic. But they gave us that father figure. Even though we didn't have the father figure, there was always someone playing that role.
Yeah, man. The thing you were talking about with the music, they brings you back to a place, right? Because they say that smell is our strongest sense, right? It can bring you back to the memories of your mom cooking in the kitchen, all that stuff.
Man.
But music, it has that like marker in time for you, that when you hear that song, it brings you back, bro. Like, it's so crazy.
Panda, I could hear sounds, man, songs, and I can tell you the temperature of that day. I can tell you just the weather. If it was a nighttime, if it was daytime, who was around me. These feelings is music is powerful. That's why I incorporate music is a big part of my art,
Yeah.
Well, art and music go together,
So you would spend like summers in Puerto Rico, right? With your dad?
I would, yes. I would go, and Pops was, shout out to David Cortes, who's no longer with us. He tried to. He was a rough guy, but I was not, he didn't raise me, you could say, in the sense of being in the household. He gave me everything too. He made sure like my brothers had it worse. I could say I had it very smooth with my dad because I spoke English. He was raised in Bushwick. He went to Bushwick High School as well. He
Oh,
was the New Yorker
wow.
kid that moved to Puerto Rico. My mom was the Puerto Rican girl that moved to New York City.
Why did he decide to move to Puerto Rico?
My grandparents were well off at the time, with a few series of bodegas in Bushwick, and they retired and they have a lot of land, and it was more easier for him. And he opened up his ironworks welding business, and he was very successful in that.
Mm,
And it was a demand in PR with welding because everyone
right.
needed a gate, and he was the man in our town. A small little town in Puerto Rico called Florida, Puerto Rico. It's next to Manatí, Arecibo, Barceloneta. For all the listeners and viewers that are familiar with Puerto Rico, it's like mid north.
So he was like a real traditional, like hardcore dad, like in that sense of like, you know what I mean? Like
He
manly.
had that biker look. He was with the bandanas. He was the New York 80s, 70s, 80s child that moved to New York City, and he was like a biker. He had that style. He was into like rock and hippie.
How would you describe like your relationship with him though?
Great, great. It was definitely like he was like a hero to me.
Mm,
He was a superhero because I didn't grow up with a dad in the household, and knowing that I had a dad in Puerto Rico, when I see him, I was like, oh my God, I get to experience this for at least a month or two. And me being with him, he showed me those values and come on, son, let's go for a ride. Let's go play some catch. And he was a big part of my baseball career too, because he was an awesome baseball player. That's why I'm a Mets fan.
oh.
Because of that.
What about your relationship with your brothers when you would go over there?
All my brothers, especially Jason, my older brother, he's the father. He's my father.
Mm,
He played that role of there's photos of us. I'm still trying to find it, but my mom has it somewhere. There's photos of Jason holding me, like protecting me everywhere we went. It was always Jason holding me, And I'm about to go see Jason on the 25th. I go to Puerto Rico on the 25th. I got my first solo show in Puerto Rico. And it feels great. They got the whole town
that's amazing,
ready to go to
man.
San Juan. They rooted for me, man. And yeah, but my brother and Joffrey was introvert, very middle child syndrome, if you could say. To this day, awesome. I love my brothers, and very protective. They were very protective of me.
So, how would you describe yourself as a child? Like, were you really into sports, music, or school?
Um, very. Me as a child, I was very into sports, into everything. I was everything like sports, comic books, cartoons, action figures, everything, man. And I had a beautiful childhood. Being alone, but had the block. So my cousins across the street, Tech MOB, shout out to Ruben Cortes, which is very known in the 90s graffiti era, of the Vandal era. My family was the block.
Got you, man.
Yeah.